Welcome to 5 After 5. Frank Cusimano with Corey Miller. Join us, please. We'd love your comments. 5 hot topics. Corey, take it away.
First thing we got to talk about, we are a week out from spring training. Still got some burning questions for the Cardinals. What's the main thing that comes to your mind that you're most looking for in this last week?
Well, tonight, the Verhagen start is really key because if he's really good, and I know he doesn't have this glitzy resume, but he may do the one thing that Cardinal pitchers have to do is pitch to contact, get a lot of ground balls, and let that Gold Glove infield and outfield, take care of things. So if he's good, I'd feel really good about the 5.
He does look like he's going to be the guy. I know we've talked a lot about it also. Paul DeJong is having a great spring. What are the chances he carries that over? Because if Paul DeJong is hitting like spring training Paul DeJong, that's an entirely different lineup.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And I don't think there's any chance he's going to have a season like he did last year where he hit 197. I mean, this is a really smart guy. And I know people don't want to hear excuses, but you had COVID, you had injuries, and then just his confidence was shattered. I don't think there's any reason why he can't come back, hit 25, he'd be a 260 hitter.
If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, drop a comment or question. We'll get to it. Now we got to get to the spicy news of the day. Bob Nightingale sat down with Mike Shildt out in Arizona in spring training. He's with the Padres now. He's their interim third base coach at the moment. And just, man, it was a heartbreaker of a story to read because you could feel just how much Mike Shildt loved being with the Cardinals and how much he was blindsided by his firing. What did you take away from that story?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the first thing that jumps out at you, it was like reading a movie. And you felt like you were with Mike Shildt when he's describing John Mozeliak beginning their Zoom conversation by saying, "This is not the way you think this is going to go, Mike." And then his wife actually not believing the fact that he was fired. If you have any compassion, if you're a member of the human race and you know him a little bit, you started almost weep when you read this article.
Well, you talked to Bob Nightingale. We're going to have some sound bites with him coming up in our newscast. And he said it took minutes for Mike to convince his wife that it was real because they were just so floored by the whole thing.
And also, it also makes you think this, Corey, is why the heck it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years, 3 full seasons, 3 postseasons, manager of the year, finalist for manager of the year. And I don't buy the fact that, look, La Russa talked about it, that the Cardinals threw out the word toxic. Now, to John Mozeliak's credit, I will say this. He said philosophical differences. But when La Russa got it from the Cardinal organization that it was a toxic environment, I don't buy that at all. That is not Mike Shildt. Did he have a rift maybe with his hitting coach because they weren't hitting and Shildt had to step in and maybe be a little tougher on the guy than he should have been? Yeah, but toxic, give me a break.
Yeah. Here's a direct quote from that story. "I have a broken heart," Shildt said. "It still hurts. It hurts bad. When it first happened, I broke down. I was inconsolable. It got better as time went on, and then he got down there, put on the Padres uniform, and it hit him again." So this is a guy who's definitely still going through it, too.
Yeah, and probably every time he sees the Cardinals on SportsCenter, sees the Cardinals in person, it's going to hurt some more. But the redeeming thing is there's a lot of managerial openings every year, and his resume and his reputation, he's going to get another job.
Bob Nightingale says he thinks it could be as early as 2023, so we'll see how that goes. What's up next? Blues bounce back. Thank goodness for the Canucks, I guess. The last 2 games, the Blues have looked a lot better. Late night win last night. Do you think that calms everybody down, or should we still be on high alert when it comes to the Blues?
Well, there's going to be 2 difficult games coming up at Edmonton, at Calgary. We're going to see one of the great young players in hockey right now, Matthew Tkachuk. But I will say this. That save last night from point-blank range by Ville Husso was unbelievable. I mean, Corey, we talk about these shortstops that make great plays, and they're a long way away from home plate.
Yeah.
That guy was like 12 feet away and just, boom, Husso just grabbed it. That was really good.
He looks like he's running away with it. There's no really controversy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some question, I think, for a little bit, but
I imagine we'll see Binnington with the back-to-back games. We'll see him either Friday or Saturday.
All right, let's move on. What do we got next? Trevon Brazile, Mizzou, going to Arkansas. Huge loss for the Tigers. If new coach Dennis Gates could keep anybody, that's the guy he was going to need to keep for the Tigers to not leave via transfer. How big is that, and does that worry you at all?
Well, yeah, it does, because you thought he was going to be good enough where you could win a lot of games with and not good enough where he would leave early. You could get a 4-year career out of him. Plus, he seems to be a wonderful kid who works hard, listens to the coaches, very unselfish. But here's the thing is, if I'm Trevon Brazile and I have Eric Musselman, back-to-back Elite Eights, 3 5-stars, and the whole state of Arkansas going berserk over their program, it's pretty tough to say no to that, especially because Springfield, I wonder if he's actually closer in Springfield to Fayetteville than he is Columbia.
He probably is, and it seems like Arkansas is on the right path for sure. 2 Elite Eights, they could be very well back there next year, but they've also figured it out when it comes to NIL. I think that's a huge component of this. Mizzou's got to figure that out too if they want to compete.
Yeah, I think it's Walmart money at Arkansas, and there's a Tyson chicken too, they say. So
Stan Kroenke out there getting us again.
yeah.
All right. Last thing, we're going to stay on college basketball and talk about the Final Four outlook coming up this weekend. You've been razzing me all week about Kansas, how they're going to take it home. Do you really believe that, or are you just giving me a hard time?
No, I think they are. I can't find a flaw with them. I do love David McCormick, the big guy. So they got one of the best big men in the Final Four. They had the best sixth man in the Final Four. They maybe had the best player, Abaji, in the Final Four. And then they got the difference maker in Christian Brown, who just makes big plays at big times. I don't see a flaw, although the Duke story is what everybody wants, but I hope they get beat.
I'm glad. I'm not fully on board with this blue blood Final Four, but I am happy to see Duke and North Carolina because that's going to be some fantastic television. And our guy Caleb Love has been going off lately.
He has, and you talk about a difference maker. There's no way, Corey, that they can beat Duke unless Caleb Love shoots at a reasonable percentage and is in that 18 to 24 point range. Remember how he started off the game in the ACC final, and he was really mediocre.
Yeah.
And then he had another great second half, just like he did last
He had
Friday.
27 in the last game in the second half. I bet we're going to get a good moment, though, and that's all you can really ask for when it comes down to it.
I'm excited.
New Orleans is a fun place to have a Final Four,
Yeah.
too, so they're going to have a good time down there. All right, that does it for the 5 After 5 for this Thursday. Have fun watching basketball this week, and next week we'll come back and have some Cardinals baseball to watch. Have a great night, everybody.